Today we will discuss this chapter number 5. It is morphology of flowering plants. In this chapter we have to learn regarding the morphology of flowering plants. Before we start this chapter, morphology of flowering plants, we have to understand the meaning of words. First of all, what is the meaning of morphology? Morphology, that means it is study of external structures. Okay, it is a study of external structures. Okay, similarly, the internal structure, the study of internal structure, it's called as anatomy. So these are the two words, these are the two terms which you have to remember: morphology and anatomy. What is a morphology? Morphology means a study of external structures. What is anatomy? Anatomy means study of internal structure. So here in this chapter we will study the external features or external structures of what? Flowering plants. Flowering plants, we have already learned this in the chapter number 3. The flowering plants are called as angiosperm. These are the flowering plants. Okay, so here we will learn the external structures of angiosperm or the flowering plants. What are the components? What are the organs they are present in the flowering plant or the angiosperm? That we will discuss in this chapter. Even we will also discuss what are their functions. Okay, now here before I start this, I would like to focus you on that, which is the largest angiosperm. The largest angiosperm that exists, it is the Eucalyptus species. Here this we have already discussed it. Okay, and the smallest one you can say that it is a Wolffia, or you can say a Wolffia globosa. This is the smallest one, a smallest angiosperm. When you talk about the smallest aquatic plant, then it is a lamna. You have to remember that. What is a lamna? It is a smallest aquatic plant. Clear? So this is the component you can find in Trona, or these are the largest and the smallest angiosperm and the plant which you can find in Trona water. Okay? So this is regarding the in general information of this chapter, morphology of flowering plant. So from this we have learned that morphology means study of external structure, anatomy means study of internal structure, the largest angiosperm is Eucalyptus, smallest one is Wolffia globosa, and the smallest aquatic plant is the lamna. Angiosperm means it's a flowering plant, they possess the flower, they leads to a production of a seed, and there is seed that is enclosed by a fruit. Okay, so this is what happens in case of an angiosperm. Now let's see what is the usual structure of any flowering plant. Because these angiosperm that occupy the largest position in the plant kingdom. You know that plant kingdom is divided into a bryophytes, pteridophytes, algae, gymnosperm, angiosperm. These are the different classes of a plant kingdom that already you have studied in the chapter number 3. But from all these, the class that is belonging, the number of plants in them is the angiosperm. So the angiosperm is the largest in terms of a number in case of a plant kingdom. Okay? So when you see this flowering plant or the angiosperm, suppose assume that this is a soil. You can find the two kind of portions in this flowering plant. Okay, there are two types of the portions that you can find into a flowering plant. Here it's a main axis of a plant, This main axis of a plant that is divided into two parts. The part which is above the ground and the part which is below the ground. The part which is present below the ground, it's called as root system. What it is called as? Root system. And the part of a plant which is present above the ground, it's called as shoot system. What is called as? Shoot system. I again repeat, the part of a flowering plant which is present below the ground, it's called as root system. and the part which is present above the ground, it's called as a shoot system. Now this root system, what it includes? It includes roots, means primary roots. It also includes secondary roots, and it includes root hairs. So primary root, secondary root, and the root hairs, they are the parts of root system. Similarly, what the shoot system consists of? Shoot system, it consists of a stem, then these are the branches which develops from it, clear. It also possesses the leaves are present over here, okay, leaves. Similarly, this branch is also, I am not drawing the whole one, I am just drawing the schematic one, okay. So these are the leaves, okay. So what it possesses? It possesses the stem, it possesses the leaf, it possesses the flowers. I am just drawing the schematic diagram. This is a flower, okay, clear. It possesses the flowers, even this flower that gets converted into the fruits. So these are the parts of shoot system. So what the shoot system consists of? This shoot system consists of stem, leaf, flower, fruits. They are the parts of a shoot system. And what the root system consists of? Root system consists of root and the root hairs. Both kind of a root, primary and the secondary roots, and even the tertiary and the root hairs. Okay? So this is about the in general portions of a plant. So if you want to classify the different organs of a plant, so the main organs of a plant are like this. Which are the main organ? Root, it is underground part or underground organ. Second, stem, it is a part of shoot system above the ground. Leaf, okay. Next, flower. Next, fruit. These are the different organs of a plant. From this, these are the parts of a shoot system, and this is a part of a root system. Now this root system, remember, this root system, they develops from plumule. You know that whole plant is developed from a seed, but even from which part of a seed they develop? They develop from the plumule of a seed. And this root, it's developed from the radicle. To remember that, the root, it develops from radicle. The shoots, it develops from the plumule. So this is the different part of a seed from which the root system and the shoot system develop. So I have to write over that the root system, it develops from the radicle, and the shoot system, it develops from a plumule. So these are the different parts and the components you can find into the flowering plants. Okay? So this is about a flowering plant in general introduction. Now here we are learning its morphology. That means we have to learn all these organs, how these organs look like, what are their functions, what are the different their types, what are the different type of it. So that we have to learn. So we will learn organ one by one. Currently we are starting with the first organ called as root. So let's start with the first organ called as root. So now we are going to start with the first root. So here the first point is that the root, it develops from radicle. This is clear. It is developed from radicle. Where it is present? It is a underground portion. Usually it's present underground. Clear? That means it develops beneath the soil. So it develops in the direction of a soil. It develops in the direction of a water. Okay? So this is what happens. Okay? And it develops in the opposite direction of a sunlight. Okay? So you can say that you might have learned this tropism and nestism in the 10th standard. So what is its characteristic? It is positive, geotropic, means it grows in the direction of a land. Geo means land. It is positive, hydrotropic. Hydro means water, so it grows in the direction of a water, so it's called as positive hydrotropic. and it is a negative phototropic. Photo means sunlight. So here it grows in the opposite direction of a sunlight. So that's why it's called as negative phototropic. So this is the introduction. Root develops from radicle. It is an underground portion of a flowering plant. It is positively geotropic, positively hydrotropic, but negative phototropic. So this is the different characteristic of a root. If you see the kinds of a root, then there are two types of a roots are there. If you observe the flowering plant, two types of a root can be observed. The first kind of a root, it's called as taproot, and the another kind of a root, it's called as adventitious root. Clear? So what is a taproot? Suppose assume that it is a soil, and this root is going to be developed from a radicle. This is the root which is going to be developed from radicle. It's called as primary root. From this primary root, its branches are going to be developed. So this root which is going to be developed from the primary root, the roots which are going to be developed from the primary root, they are called as secondary root. Even again the branches is going to be formed. This is called as tertiary roots. Clear? And then finally the root hairs are going to be developed. These are called as root hairs. Clear? This kind of a system is called as a taproot. Here the taproot is long and stronger, consisting of primary root, and from this primary root, its branches like secondary root, tertiary root, and the root hairs, they are developed. So this is a characteristic of a taproot. Next is an adventitious root. Next is an adventitious root. So what is an adventitious root? In adventitious root, if you see, then here the primary root is developed, but this primary root is replaced soon with a small fiber-like structures, from which it occurs. Okay, so here this type of a root, it's called as an adventitious root. What kind of root it is called as? Adventitious root. Here the primary root that is replaced by the other roots, then this is called as an adventitious root. Okay, so this is the characteristic that you will observe into a tap and the adventitious root. Now if you find out the difference between this, what is difference between the tap root and the adventitious root? Here, so I will write down the differences between the tap root and the adventitious root. Here the primary root is long and stronger. Here the primary root is short-lived, just for a short time. It is just for a short time duration, so it is a short-lived. Okay. In case of a tap root, the primary root is long and strong. In case of an adventitious root, it is a short-lived. Okay, so this is the characteristic that is going to be observed. Next characteristic you can find into a tap and the adventitious root is that in the tap root, it develops from the radicle. Remember, it is a root, so obviously it develops from a radicle. But these adventitious roots are spatial roots. They do not develop from a radicle. Instead of radicle, they develop from other than radicle. So they develop from other, like hypocotyl or certain other parts from which it will be developed. Okay, so this is the second point. In the third point, if you this kind of a taproot you can find into a dicotyledon plants. Dicotyledon means those plants in seed, if they have a two cotyledon, we will learn the structure of seed. Okay, in this chapter. So these plants are called as dicotyledon plants, and those adventitious roots, they are observed into a monocot plants or monocotyledonous plant. Means mono means one, they have a single cotyledon in a seed. So this is the difference between this taproot and the adventitious root. Taproot primary root is long and strong. In case of adventitious root, the primary root is just a short-lived, that is replaced by the other roots. Taproot develops from radicle. Adventitious root developed from other than radicle like hypocotyl. Here the taproot is observed in dicotyledonous plant. Adventitious root that's found in from the monocotyledonous plant. Okay, and this is that diagram. Okay, so this is the difference between the two different kinds of a root, taproot and the adventitious root. Okay, I hope you are clear with this, the general characteristic and the different types of a root that is present into a flowering plant or the angiosperm. Now let us discuss what are their structures. If you find the structures of root, then in the structure of a root there are different regions. So now we are going to start with the regions of root. What are the different regions of root? Suppose assume that this is the ground level and here the root then develops underground. Clear? Now here what are the different regions? There are 4 regions of a root. How many regions of a root? 4 regions of a root. The first one, it's called as root cap. The second one, it's called as meristematic region. The third one, it's called as elongation region. And the last one, it's called as maturation region. There are 4 regions of a root. Root cap, meristematic region, elongation region and the maturation region. Okay. So here the first portion, here which is like a cap to a root, at the end of a root you can find a cap like portion. A cap like portion you can find. This is called as root cap. This region is called as root cap. They are protective in nature. They protect the meristematic region. The region under it is a meristematic region. So it protects the meristematic region. As the cap protect our head, similarly the root cap, it protects the meristematic region. Okay, clear? So this is a kind of arrangement that you can find in it. Okay. In case of a plant called as a pistia, the root can be found as a loose covering, or you can also call it as root pocket. Okay, you can also call it as root pocket. Pistia is an aquatic plant which grows in a water. In pistia, you can find the root pockets. Okay, a special loose arrangement of a root cap you can find. The second part, this is the second part. What you can call it as meristematic region. The second region, it's called as meristematic region. The meristematic regions, the cells of these meristematic regions are such that they are constantly dividing. They are constantly dividing cells. Okay, they are constantly dividing cells. The cells of these regions are such that they are small, thin-walled, and filled with protoplasm. Okay, so what are the characteristics of a cells that you can find in the meristematic region? Remember, what is a meristematic region? The cells which are present in this region, they are constantly dividing. Means it adds up the new cells. You know that when the cell division occurs, new cells are added, and due to addition of new cells, the length of this root gets increases. So this meristematic region are responsible for increasing the length of a root by addition of a number of cells. They are the newly formed cells, newly divided cells. So here the cells are small, thin-walled and filled with a protoplasm. So this is the characteristic that is going to be observed. The next region, apart from this meristematic region, the next region is called as elongation region. In this elongation region, this small cell, it enlarges in size. The cell enlarges in a size, and due to enlargement of a cell, here the size of root again gets increased. Okay, so this is called as an elongation region. And the last region, it's called as maturation region. The last region, it's called as maturation region. Here in this maturation region, the cells which are elongated, I'm writing over here, the cells which are elongated, they differentiate. Differentiate means it converts into a special kind of a tissues. It differentiates or it becomes a mature to perform a specific function. So this region is called as maturation region. From this region, the root hairs will develop, a small hair-like structures will develop, a small. Hence, this maturation region can also be called as root hair region. Why it's called as a root hair region? It's called as a root hair region because the root hair, it develops from this maturation region. That's why it is called as maturation region or root hair region. So these are the four regions of a root. Root cap, meristematic region, elongation region and maturation region. Okay. So today in this session we have learned regarding what is a root, what is morphology, what is anatomy, what is called as angiosperm, what are the different organs, and we have started a general characteristic of a root. Even in this root, we have also discussed the two different types of a root and what are the different regions of root that you can find. Now regarding the functions of a root and the modification of a root that we will discuss in the next session. Till then students, keep learning, keep watching, like and subscribe this channel. Thank you for watching.